A lot of people don't know this, but I actually met my fiance in my dreams before I met her. And then in 2012, we met at Fogo, which is where we used to work together. We would just have so much fun. I remember going up to the hostess stand, which would oversee the entire dining room. And one of the hostess used to make fun of me. She used to tease me, saying that every time I would look at her, that my eyes would turn into this heart shape and just go back and forth.
So he worked at Fogo and I started working there after him. I can't explain the way it was to work with him because it's more of like the way that he like when he gets excited and runs, he kind of like shrinks down and like has his shoulders up and he's like, I don't know, it's more of like a feeling and a memory that I can't explain, but it was a lot of fun. And I would be like serving a table and he'd be walking by and he would be listening to me and he'd like anticipate the needs of the table. And so I'd be like, let me get you that plate. And all of a sudden he'd have the plate there for him. And, so our teamwork together was like exceptional.
After work, we would go to Fred Piat's.
I mean, we both found each other attractive.
We would have so much fun out there. We would do karaoke together. And one night, something told me, you need to keep hanging out with this girl. And I invited her for a walk. We walked just along the plaza, for a few blocks. Then I said, hey, there's too many bricks here. There's too many buildings here. Let's go somewhere that's a little more open and with a little more nature to it. And
finally, one night he just asked me to go for a walk in Loose Park, and that was our first date.
And we just started walking, and it was just such a beautiful night. We were walking along the middle bridge at Loose Park. We looked up at the sky, and the moon had a pink halo on it. I love little signs like that the universe gives me.
There was a halo around the moon, and I guess that doesn't happen very often.
When I saw that pink halo, I'm like, man, you gotta make a move. You gotta make your move, and I went for it, and that's where we had our first kiss.
We dated for about 6 months. This was about 2012 to 2013. And then, we were young, and I think I was like 24 or something like that. And so things didn't work out. And we went our own ways for about 10 years. We would run into each other around town, and every once in a while he'd wish me happy birthday. But he was always a significant person in my mind. Whenever I'd be going somewhere, I'd be like, am I gonna run into him? And it was one of those relationships that you're like, dang, I wish that would have worked out.
I remember Holly, she missed him a lot, and she talked to me about him.
We reconnected in November of 22 because an unfortunate event with, super sad event actually, with his best friend.
It was one of the biggest tragedies in my life, but at the same time, it gave me like a stepping stone in my life to reunite with my lady. A couple of years ago, my best friend Antonio was ran over on Flamingo Street in Las Vegas. He was on his bicycle with the love of his life, Karina, and somebody that didn't make the right choice and got behind the wheel. Tragically ran them over, and neither one of them made it. So I was in a really dark place for a while. That helped me to reach out to the people that I didn't get to say goodbye to, and one of them was Holly, and that's what kind of gave me the guts, that feeling inside to reach out, to reconnect, and at the very least, say a proper goodbye, if that was the plan. But I really feel that God's plan was different. Thanks to him, and thanks to my buddy, I've overcome a lot of struggles.
And I was just a shoulder for him. But when we met up, just like one thing led to another. We were gonna meet for coffee, but our work days went late, and then we decided we were gonna meet for drinks, and then when we were hanging out, his food was bad, so he had to send it back. And, since his food didn't work out, they started pouring in more drinks. And then we ended up, going back to my place to have a bonfire. And because, he couldn't drive. So come outside to, see how the bonfire was getting going. And he threw, the biggest log in there that I'd ever seen. And I was like, okay, it's going to be a late night.
Well, I think she's lost a few loved ones herself. And I honestly hadn't, not real close to me. So somehow she knew what I felt, and a lot of times she wouldn't have to say anything. She would just by being by my side and giving me a hug and just knowing that we're there for each other.
So we hung out that night, and then I had to leave for the Dominican for a week after that, and didn't really hear from him. But the last day he texted and he was like, "How you doing?" I was kind of surprised to hear from him, but I was happy to hear from him. When I got back in town, we started hanging out a lot. And
they call each other again because they remember his best friend, Antonio. So they start talking again, and they really talking in the phone, singing songs. So remember the friend, remember the times they have with these friends.
And then later on, when we reconnected, 10 years later, our first walk outside, there was a halo around the moon again.
The moment that I knew she was the one, I don't know. I think I knew all along. From the very first day I met her, I knew she was really, really special. I fell in love with her smile, with her eyes, with the way she would just be. I always knew she was special. I always knew I wanted her to be by my side in this beautiful journey.
And I never see Jesus so happy with nobody. And when he's with Holly, look like everything is shine. I saw that everywhere when Holly and Jesus are, it's kind of shine.
And to see how Holly just beams. But I think the beams, Jesus does the same thing though. You can tell. You can just tell it's so special what they have.
I didn't think it was going to go anywhere, honestly, because when we reconnected in November, I asked him, I was like, so you ever going to get married? You ever going to have kids? And he's like, hell no, I don't want kids. I don't want to be married. I am living the life. And I'm like, okay, thinking to myself, okay, this will never work out because I want kids in 2 years. I want them so bad I'm going to adopt if I don't have a guy in my life.
I don't know, 2 years ago, I just never saw myself with children. I never wanted to get married. I never wanted to have kids. I liked my life just the way it was. It was fun. It was cool. But then when we reconnected, something changed in my brain. I have no idea what it was. And then I would see my friends with their little ones, and some of them have 2 or 3 children. And just the way the kids flock to you when they hear a loud noise and they need to be protected, or they need a little bit of comfort and they run to their parents. I knew I wanted to do it, and I had the perfect lady in front of me. So I think it all just came together all at once, that I wanted to marry her and that I wanted her to be the mother of our future children one day.
One day he told me, he's like, I want to date you for a really long time. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? I was like, I don't know if this is actually going to work because we want different things. I don't want you to expect me to change my mind about kids. And I don't know, all of a sudden he was like, let's have an itty bitty girl or itty bitty boy together. And I'm like, okay, where did this come from? And he's like, I wouldn't want to have kids with anybody else in the world but you. And that's why he's like, he's really excited about, having a future together. And
it took a while. It took a lot of planning. I had my best friend Andres help me with it.
He said he had known for 3 months and he was working on the plan. He had set up for his best friend, who's our best man, Diaz, to meet us at the park, at Loose Park.
So I give her my ring. That was my ring. And I said, Jesus, that will be a good idea. I give you my ring. I really, really like it.
Jesus gave me the ring to get to him, and during the proposal at Loose Park, and such a pretty park and really cool memories there.
We just went over the plan, I want to say maybe 72 times, because I just needed to make sure that he was at this very specific spot with the ring when we were going to be there.
So Diaz was supposed to bring the ring. He had set up to have my entire family hiding in the bushes at Loose Park to be able to watch him propose to me. And that day we were supposed to go to dinner and then go to Loose Park to get, he was like giving something to Diaz. I don't even know what.
Because I couldn't carry the ring. If the ring was in my pocket, she's so curious. She would have been like, what's in your pocket? Let me see. And I couldn't risk it. So I had to have somebody meet us there with the ring, and I had to have something in return because I couldn't just meet them there. So I had this, I can't remember what I had.
I kept asking, like, what time do we need to be at dinner? And he didn't really push me. And I was like, this is a little weird, because usually he's like, hurry up, hurry up. So I ended up taking forever. So we had to miss dinner, go straight to the park, and we're just like walking around, and we were like a good 20, 30 minutes early. And as we're walking, like, he's like, do you think there's fish in this pond? And like, just like stupid conversations.
We went to Loose Park, and we had to kill time. So I ran out of things to say when we were waiting for the ring to arrive, and we're walking along the lake, and I'm like, I'm running out of things to say, and I'm looking at the water, and I'm like, how many fish do you think are in the water, you know? And she's like looking at me like, what, fool? I'm hungry. Let's get this thing done and get some, go get something to eat.
Got down on one knee and grabbed a stick, and I was like, my heart was like freaking out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is he about to propose to me? And he stood up and threw a stick in the pond, and I'm like, okay, what is going on right now? Which I was really happy that he didn't propose in that moment, because it gave me a moment to like calm down. We were on the bridge where we had our first kiss, and then we saw Diaz coming with his dog.
And I was like, oh, hey, Andres, here's your stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, I got something for you too. He hands me the ring.
They were chatting a little bit, and I wasn't really paying attention, and all of a sudden he's like telling me all this stuff, and
I'm pretty sure I mumbled everything that I wanted to say to her, because I was just over the moon with excitement, anxiety, just all these feelings that were going through my head and through my body. And
he gets down on one knee, and
I'm almost positive that I just mumbled, will you marry me? But she knew what I meant. She knew what I wanted to say. And she said yes, and her family came from behind the trees and behind the bushes where they were.
All of a sudden, my whole family comes, and his mom and Pancho come screaming, running out of the bushes, and like some strangers were also peeking around the bushes watching us.
Besides today, it was the most beautiful day of my life.
His smile, for sure. Just the best smile I think I've ever seen. And then he's like got this spice to him, like part of the Mexican spice, I think, but he's kind of a jokester. He's always wanting to have a good time. He takes charge. He's confident, and he's just such a great person.
The way she thinks and just her voice, hearing her voice just makes me so happy.
Probably just how much fun him and I will have together, and like he's like the guy version of me, and he'll say I'm the girl version of him, and like we love to like sing Eminem while we're cooking, or just like joke around, and we're getting really big into watching the Chiefs together, and I think we make a really great team. I think working together originally kind of showed us how to work together. He's always gonna have my back, and he's just so nice. And to have somebody who's just like whatever you want, like I don't know, I'm excited about how he treats me and how he treats my family. I just know that like in the hard times, it's probably good to remember the moments where like in the middle of the night he'll just wake up and be like, I love you so much, like you are my absolute world. And to wake up out of nowhere and be able to just say that, it's like it's not premeditated, you can't fake that stuff. Like he truly loves me and cares about me, and And like all he wants is us to just be happy.
What I want to remember about this moment is that's what it is. It's those moments that you work for. There's gonna be struggles in your life, and it happens to all of us, but just remember that it's only a moment. It's only a moment, so you must cherish it. And if it's a bad moment, you're gonna have more moments tomorrow. I just can't wait to get off of work and get home as fast as I can to see what my lady has cooked. I want to get home and I want to have a little one run to me and be so happy, because I'm gonna be happy getting home and getting a nice hug from my loved ones. I'm really happy about just sharing life and showing my new family off to the world. That's what I'm looking forward to.